In the third year of my marriage to Chu Heng, his white moonlight returned home. I sensibly took out the divorce agreement, signed it, and handed it to him, speaking in a calm tone. Chu Heng, let's get a divorce. But he trembled as he took the divorce agreement, utterly shattered, tearing it to pieces. No divorce. Don't divorce. Why do we have to divorce? Where am I falling short compared to him? I have something going on tonight, so I won't be back. The phone vibrated, and a message from him popped up. I pressed the screen off, turned over, and went back to sleep. Our marriage was purely a business arrangement, devoid of any emotional connection. Over the past 3 years, he has remained devoted to his white moonlight, while I have been striving to build my career. I don't know when it started, but he always liked to keep me informed. From trivial daily matters to major events like business trips and contract signings. I've made up my mind. Once his white moonlight returns to the country, we will get a divorce. He has someone in his heart, and I don't want to live as a widow for the rest of my life. The phone vibrated, and I impatiently picked it up, discovering it was a message from my best friend Lin Rong, which immediately helped me calm down. It's very wrong. Image, it's very wrong. Huan, darling. Your husband's first love is back. What are your plans? Fluffy Fairy. Why don't you move out and live with me? Fluffy Fairy. Then we can go shopping for clothes together. I calmed my anger and opened the image. In the picture, a man in a suit looked affectionately at the girl across from him, who was wearing a white dress. Her long hair was pulled up high, one hand resting on her chin while the other fiddled with the coffee spoon. Chu Heng watched her as she looked at her coffee. A match made in heaven. A perfect pair. I suddenly felt a bit restless. Sent a message to my best friend Rongrong, then glanced at the time and decided to turn off the screen and go to sleep. A little more joy. Fluffy baby, don't worry. I have my own arrangements. It was past 10 o'clock and Chu Heng still hadn't returned. I turned over, but no matter what I did, I couldn't fall asleep. But what right do I have to concern myself with his matters? We were just a business marriage. We agreed on that from the very beginning. Now that his beloved has returned, I naturally have the sense to leave. Mrs. Chu's position was never mine to claim. 3 years ago, when our family's financial chain was faltering and about to collapse, my childhood friend immediately annulled our engagement. It was Chu Heng who took the initiative to stand up and help the Hai family through the tough times. I never understood why he wanted to help me. Until the day before the engagement, when he found me and said, "Miss He, I have someone I like, and my grandma has been urging me, so there's no other way. I hope we can have a pleasant collaboration." That night, I stood on the rooftop of the Chu family's villa, gazing at the starry sky, and it seemed I finally understood why he sought me out. He needs a virtuous and gentle wife to prevent his family from pressing for marriage. And my reputation is quite good within the circle. The He family has always been a business focused on researching new technologies, which has great potential in the era of modern technological development. If the Chu family lends a helping hand, once the He family overcomes their difficulties, it will naturally bring benefits to the Chu family as well. We are all merchants, so naturally, we prioritize our own interests. In that moment, I understood that my marriage with him was merely a collaboration, unrelated to love. The night sky was dotted with stars. I turned my head and smiled at him, saying, "Mr. Chu, it's a pleasure to collaborate. Marriage is something I can take or leave. If I can use marriage to save the He family, why not?" Chu Heng calmly took out a contract, as if discussing a partnership. "Miss He, it's a pleasure to collaborate. You can take a look at the contract. It's for a duration of 3 years." I don't remember how I signed the contract back then, nor do I recall exactly what he said at the time. I just knew he was willing to save the Hai family. And after reviewing the contract, there were no unreasonable conditions, so I signed without hesitation. Later, with the help of my best friends from the Lin and Chu families, the He family managed to survive, and after 3 years of growth, we gradually stabilized our footing. Speaking of which, it's quite a coincidence that my marriage contract with him is set to expire in a week, and his first love is returning to the country. I turned over and sighed helplessly. So be it. Preparing for divorce. I know who Chu Heng likes. His white moonlight. Su Ye. This is no secret in the circle. I've heard that he and she are childhood sweethearts. Unfortunately, before he could express his feelings to her, Su Yu fell seriously ill and urgently needed to go abroad for treatment, thus having to bid him farewell. As for Chu Heng, over the years, he would secretly go abroad to see her. I pretended not to know and fulfilled my duties as the Mrs. Chu. Now that Su Yu has returned, I must inevitably leave to make room for her as the true Mrs. Chu. My relationship with Chu Heng may only be a cooperative one. In the night, I heard the rustling sounds beside my ear, accompanied by a familiar scent of men's cologne. It was Chu Heng coming back. I pretended to be asleep, ignoring him, not knowing what exactly he intended to do. Yet, various cases of wife murders involuntarily surfaced in my mind. No way. No way. Yelped He Huan. What are you even thinking about? Even if Chu Heng dislikes me, he wouldn't go as far as to kill. But for the past 3 years, we've been sleeping in separate rooms. And on the night of our wedding, we didn't even... He said he was not that casual of a person and wanted to remain loyal to the person he liked. Did he come over at this time by mistake? Or did he suffer some injustice at Su Yu's place and come to me in the middle of the night to vent? Over the years, my relationship with him has been like that of roommates, not disturbing each other and living well separately. Just as I was hesitating whether to pretend to wake up and greet him, he suddenly burrowed into my blanket, cupping my face and planting a kiss on my forehead. I jumped in surprise and opened my eyes wide, immediately pushing him away, my hand resting against his chest muscle. Mr. Chu. I looked at him, my voice faltering for a moment, then couldn't help but swallow hard, forcing myself to remain calm. Did you come into the wrong room? He wore a thin white shirt, his already handsome cheeks flushed, making him look as tempting as a ripe peach. His breath was hot, and his Adam's apple bobbed, reminiscent of the way the little puppy recently taken in by my best friend flirted with her. I quickly averted my gaze, my cheeks burning, through the thin fabric. I could even feel his firm abs and... It was a male mom. The one I love the most. I nearly had a nosebleed. If I hadn't had a bit of rationality left, I could have knocked him down right then and there. Although I haven't really been with a man in that way. Not long after getting married, my best friend found out that Chu Heng and I hadn't. She dragged me to watch that kind of film, and I blushed. Later doing it myself or playing with little toys. Of course, I knew how that thing was supposed to be done. Chu Heng was very warm to the touch, and his face was also flushed. I resisted the impulse to tackle him to the ground and exhaled a deep breath, catching a faint smell of alcohol on him. I seriously suspected he was still drunk, and I pushed him away. You're drunk. Perhaps he got too carried away talking to his first love, Bai Yeguang, who had just returned to the country, and ended up drinking too much without realizing it. This would certainly explain all his current behaviors. I sighed, intending to get out of bed to call out for 2 servants to help him leave. But he grasped my wrist. Dear wife. His voice was gentle, as if suppressing something, grabbing my hand and placing it on his abdominal muscles. Touch it. Do you like it? He looked at me, his voice hoarse, carrying a hint of anticipation, his peach blossom eyes glimmering like a charming, lovable puppy. But it was abnormal. Far too abnormal. This is still the first time I've heard him call me wife. Before, he always called me Miss He. I withdrew my gaze, my heart sinking. He really is drunk. I quickly withdrew my hand. While my abs are nice to touch, I really shouldn't be touching them indiscriminately. If he wakes up tomorrow after a night of drinking and finds out he slept next to me, I really wouldn't be able to explain myself, even if I had 800 mouths. I couldn't help but swallow hard, forcing myself to calm down. He won. Get a grip. If you want that, go solve it with a small toy later. You're just in a business marriage with him. It's clearly written in black and white in the contract. You can't do that. He wants to leave it for the person he likes. What's more important? The he family or male beauty? Of course, it's the he family. If it really becomes unbearable, it's not a difficult thing to figure out a way to solve it myself. But one must never involve Chu Heng. He family's bankruptcy warning. I got up, immediately grabbed my phone, and quickly crawled out of the room. Mr. Chu, please rest well. Since there are plenty of rooms in the villa, I might as well just find a random one to crash for the night. I casually picked a room, lay back down, and opened my phone to send a message to Lawyer Liu. Please bring 2 copies of the divorce agreement over tomorrow. Putting my phone down, it was already past 1 in the morning, and I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. All that filled my mind were the moments spent with Chu Heng over the past 3 years. I didn't expect this day to come so quickly. It's about to end. That's fine. He already has someone he likes. But my heart still can't help but ache for a moment. Why can't the person he likes be me? I really want to devour him. His physique is my favorite type. And his gentle personality appeals to me as well. If only he were willing. Forget it. We can only be in a cooperative relationship. I don't like men who have someone else in their hearts. I let out a heavy sigh. What a pity. What a pity. It's rare to meet someone I like. Get married smoothly. Yet I can't enjoy the fruits of it, because he still thinks of someone else. I lowered my eyes and calmed my heart. After planning to get a divorce, I intended to learn from my best friend and find a clean man who would be willing to play with me as a single mom. It's strange when I think about it. My feelings for him could be described as love at first sight or affection that grows over time. But to put it bluntly, there was a moment when I felt attracted to him, thinking that after living together for so many years, it wouldn't be bad to just continue this way. At first, I couldn't even believe it myself. I realized I had some inappropriate thoughts about him last year when we went on a trip to an island. He came over to me bare-chested, helping me apply sunscreen. Looking at his face, I felt a whirlwind of emotions. Wanting to devour him entirely, I could only look away, forcing myself to stare at the sea, casually picking a handsome guy to daydream about. Later, I realized that I had developed feelings for him, and could only put on a brave face. No one else knew about this matter except for me. Perhaps afraid of being seen through by others, I could only suppress these feelings that shouldn't have appeared. Letting go of a feeling sounds easy, but in reality, it's not too difficult either. I'm just a bit sad, a little disappointed. After 3 years of being together, under the guise of cooperation, I found myself quietly developing feelings that I shouldn't have for him. Chu Heng is very outstanding. A qualified husband. He checks on me when I'm sick, brings me gifts when he returns from business trips, and no matter how busy he is, he always manages to take me out for a few days of fun each year. My monthly allowance also arrives on time. Everything is great. Except for living like a widow. Days pass by quietly. I have also thought that if this continues, no one will mention that 3-year collaboration. I will fulfill my duty as a wife and take good care of his grandmother. It's just a pity. He belongs to someone else, and was never mine to begin with. If I force it, it would only end up with us both suffering. Moreover, my marriage with him has always been a cooperation. It should also come to an end. Su Yu has returned. I don't know how long it has been, but I fell into a deep sleep. I didn't know that in my original room, after I left, Chu Heng's eyes were filled with disappointment. Even a hint of sadness. He couldn't understand. Why? Clearly, he had done everything Su Yu said. Wearing the thinnest clothes, spraying on the woody perfume she loved, and actively trying to entice her. Why is she not moved at all? He even had the audacity to take her hand. Such an obvious gesture. Why doesn't she understand his meaning yet? Su Yu, are you lying? Ding. A message popped up on the phone via WeChat. Lawyer Liu. Mr. Chu. Miss. He wants to divorce you. Are you aware of this? Chu Heng. Divorce. She actually wants to divorce him. She threw her phone aside in frustration, feeling extremely heartbroken and angry. She buried her head in the blanket and secretly wiped away her tears. Wah! He Huan. Do you really have no heart? 3 years have passed. Why hasn't your heart warmed yet? Why are you still thinking about divorce? Has he not been good enough to her? Is it because his abs are not nice to touch? Or is it that she has another dog outside? The more he thought about it, the more wronged he felt. In the end, Chu Heng picked up his phone, opened WeChat, and found Su Yu's contact. Are you there? Su Yu. Su Yu. So, how did it go? Did your sister-in-law move on to the next step after touching your abs? Chu Heng. She wants to divorce me. Su Yu. Chu Heng, the resentful husband. She's been going out a lot lately, often returning late at night, smelling of alcohol and men's cologne. Is she seeing another man out there? Su Yu. Impossible. From what I know, my sister-in-law is not that kind of person. Su Yu. Is it because your skills are lacking? And you didn't treat your sister-in-law well, that she ended up divorcing you? Chu Heng. But we've been married for 3 years, and we sleep in separate rooms. I just did what you said to seduce her, and she had no reaction at all. She must have found another dog outside, having her fill. He had clearly already restrained his nature of being sensitive and jealous, trying to be a qualified domineering CEO as Su Yu taught him, pretending to be aloof and mature. Why couldn't she see him still? Su Yu frowned. So, you've been married for 3 years, and you still haven't lived together. Bro, are you really okay? Your sister-in-law is such a stunning beauty, and you're asking her to live like a widow. If it were her, she would have raised countless little puppies by now, in this Shu family's villa. Su Yu silently rolled her eyes. A man with blonde hair and blue eyes approached her, holding a bunch of washed grapes. He peeled one and offered it to her mouth, speaking in awkward Chinese. Baby, what's wrong? You don't seem very happy. The man skillfully placed her hand on his abs. Baby, feel it. Worries. Emptiness. The gem-like green eyes blinked, and the handsome face leaned close to Su Yu. Acting spoiled. Baby. The phone was tossed aside. WeChat constantly flashing new messages. Yet no one replied. Chu Heng. What they say about feelings growing over time is all nonsense. Chu Heng. All those tricks you've tried over the past 3 years have been useless. Taking her out to play. She stares blankly at other men, those eyes seemingly glued to them, giving her gifts. She turns around and gives them to Lin Rong. Do you have any other tricks? Chu Heng. I should have listened to you back then and agreed to marry her. Now there's just a week left until our agreement expires. And she still remembers that she wants a divorce. She doesn't want me anymore. Sobi. Chu Heng. What if I seduce her and make her take responsibility for me? Chu Heng. Do you really think she hasn't found another guy outside? Last time I saw her watching those borderline videos, and their bodies are nowhere near as good as mine. Why doesn't she ever look at me? It's a pity that he works out every day and deliberately shows off his bare upper body in front of her after his evening shower. But she acts like she can't see him. Chu Heng. I saw her buy a set online before, and I waited for several days. She hasn't favored me at all. Has she used it with other dogs? Chu Heng. Those dogs outside can't compare to my cleanliness. I don't even know how many people they've been with. Chu Heng. Su Yu. Say something. In the Chu family's villa. Chu Heng completely revealed his nature as a resentful husband, hugging the blanket and crying. Wah wah wah. My wife doesn't want me anymore. The next day, when I woke up, it was nearly noon. I turned on my bright phone, and my best friend sent me an edgy video along with a message. Don't hold back, my dear. When you're divorced, I'll take you out for some fun. The new batch of guys at Yinga KTV is just your type. We'll have a meat feast then. I felt a mix of emotions and typed back. Thanks for the support, bestie. Let's talk about it then. Lin Rong really has a few KTVs under her name. And she took me there to have fun before. I just didn't order any male models. Sitting there drinking while watching my best friend embrace them on both sides. Feeling terribly envious inside. Yet I still had to hold back and dared not order. It's not that I'm such a paragon of virtue. It's just that I'm not as carefree as Lin Rong. Before I divorced Chu Heng, I still need to live up to the identity of Madame Chu and can't let anyone find fault with me. Can't let my mother-in-law be dissatisfied. I have the desire but lack the courage. With a tap of her finger, she opened the video. As the music played, a fluffy little puppy in the scene slowly lifted its clothes, biting at the fabric to reveal a toned abdomen. Its chest muscles impressively large. Just the type I like. Sister. The little pup bit the edge of the t-shirt, blinked at the screen. His voice husky and alluring, and his lips were moist and rosy. It's very tempting to kiss. I think his face would look even better when crying. And he would probably call out beautifully. My best friend really knows me. I just love to see men cry, especially that expression when a man, after being bullied by me, bites his lip with tears streaming down his face. Determined not to let out any sounds of shame, that's my favorite. I would hold him in my arms to comfort him, wishing I could give him my whole heart. Perhaps it's because my childhood fiancé, who had a marriage agreement with me, was the type who cried easily. It might have been the moment when I visited him after my college entrance exams and accidentally made him shed tears that I realized how excited I felt. A sense of great satisfaction overwhelming me. Perhaps I've always liked this type. Sometimes I even think I'm a bit twisted, but my best friend tells me that's normal. Just like she enjoys bondage. Tying up her little pup, pressing him down and teaching him with a small whip. Everyone has different preferences. And one day I will also meet someone I like. I swallowed hard, my gaze fixed, completely unaware that someone was standing at the door. Their face as dark as coal, fists clenched, teeth gritted. Chu Heng wore a disgruntled expression. Why? Where is he inferior to those flashy, cheap goods? Just then, Aunt Wang walked by with a cloth in her hand, saw him, and gently called out, "Young master." Chu Heng quickly reacted, his expression returning to its usual gentle and aloof demeanor. Aunt Wang. Good morning. Ah. Good morning. Young master. Good morning. It's almost noon. Aunt Wang left with a rag, casting an uncertain glance back at him. Chu Heng still wore that gentle expression, as if the disgruntled husband from earlier was not him at all. Aunt Wang questioned herself. Is she getting old and blurry-eyed? She actually saw her young master, just like her worthless son, who became someone else's mistress's boy, gazing at the girl he likes, with a look of resentment that she's not treating him well, mixed with a heart that feels like it's about to shatter. Aunt Wang felt certain she must have seen it wrong. Hearing the noise, I immediately felt guilty, turning off my phone screen and setting it aside. I looked towards the door and forced a gentle smile, saying, "Good morning, Mr. Chu. I got drunk last night. Didn't scare you. Right." His gaze towards me held a hint of testing, as if he were trying to reassure me, yet hiding something at the same time. He usually had a good tolerance for alcohol, never drunk even after 1,000 cups. Perhaps it was just that Su Yu returned to the country yesterday, and he was so happy that he got drunk. I waved my hand and jumped off the bed. No, Mr. Chu. Don't worry. I approached the door and walked past him, intending to go back and change into some clothes. Mr. Chu, is there something else? I was still wearing my pajamas, summer pajamas, which felt a bit thin. Chu Heng's ears instantly turned red, though he still put on a calm facade. It's nothing. Just time for lunch. Today is the day we visit Grandma at the old house. I immediately understood. Wait a moment while I tidy up. I'll be ready shortly. Visiting Grandma at the old house is a monthly arrangement. As soon as you enter the old house, you can see the maid tidying up everything. The elderly woman is in great spirits, lying in the yard, soaking up the sun, occasionally taking a sip of tea. And there's also an old lady beside her. She is Grandma's close friend. They are gossiping. Seeing us arrive, Grandma Lee's eyes were filled with envy. Shufin, your grandson has brought his wife to see you. What did you say? Grandma's hearing isn't very good, and her memory has been pitifully weak lately. But she has always remembered her best friend, even if the late old Master Chu has forgotten. He has not forgotten that Grandma Lee is her close friend. A lifetime of friendship from childhood. No matter who is forgotten, you cannot be forgotten. Grandma Lee had no choice but to repeat, your grandson and granddaughter-in-law have come to see you. Grandma suddenly jumped up from the stool and immediately came to the living room, staring at me for a long time. Grandma, I smiled and said, let's see how you're doing. Chu Heng went to one side and called over the doctor responsible for Grandma's health to ask about her condition. Grandma looked at me, beaming with delight. This is great. You're so blessed. When are you two getting married? Xiao Huan is here. Grandma Li was still somewhat clear-headed. She came to me and pulled Grandma aside, saying, Shufin, they've already gotten married a long time ago. Just wait to hold your great-grandson. I smiled and nodded. Come to see Grandma. Grandma was supported by Grandma Li as she walked in, not forgetting to cheer. Great. Great. I want to hold my great-grandchild. The two elderly women chatted and then lay back in the courtyard, continuing to soak up the sun. In that moment, I seemed to see the days of my best friend and me in our old age. I lowered my gaze. In her current state, perhaps even if my grandson's wife were someone else, she wouldn't be able to tell. Then I can rest easy. Su Yuem is more suitable to be Mrs. Brow Chu than I am. And she is more qualified as well. After having a meal at the old house, we finally went back. My father-in-law and mother-in-law were still abroad, busy with expanding the branch office. After briefly inquiring about my grandmother's situation, they began to urge us to have children. Mother-in-law, Xiao Huan. It's not that I'm being old-fashioned. In the Chu family, this generation rests solely on Chu Heng as the only heir. While you're still young, you should quickly have a child, whether it's a boy or a girl. One child. I'll give you 100 million. 2 children. I'll give you 200 million. Sigh. Father-in-law snatched the phone. Xiao Huan, hand the phone to Chu Heng. I have something to discuss with him, I replied. Okay. I handed the phone to Chu Heng. Dad has something to discuss with you. He glanced at me and took it. Then came a torrent of curses. You little brat. How long have you been married without having a single child? If you can't do it, then go to the hospital and get checked out. Do. Chu Heng immediately hung up the phone, his face reddening as he handed the phone back to me. The company has an urgent matter, so I have to leave. I pretended not to hear what my father-in-law had said on the phone just now, sighed, and quietly went back to pack my luggage. After 3 years of marriage, we hadn't even slept together. It would be a miracle to get pregnant. Perhaps even my father-in-law and mother-in-law do not know that Chu Heng and I are actually in a contractual marriage, and he must remain pure for Su Yu. I turned on my phone, opened the WeChat interface, and my best friend had sent many messages. I found Lawyer Liu and sent him a message, urging him. Hasn't the divorce agreement been finalized yet? I exited and looked for my best friend's profile picture, clicking in to check. Shy Fluffy Fairy. Hey bestie. Do you still remember your little bamboo horse? Shy Fluffy Fairy. He's back in the country now, drinking at the Yinga KTV under my watch. And he's completely wasted. Calling your name. Do you want to come see? Shy Fluffy Fairy. Video. I clicked on the video. In the video, colorful lights flicker back and forth. The precious young master is dead drunk, sprawled over the glass table, a few strands of hair falling over his forehead. His eye sockets reddened. Huan. Hey Huan, he mumbled softly, while a few big men beside him did not dare to move him easily. After all, he is a distinguished guest of Yingge. Her best friend was at a loss with him. Shirong Fairy. This guy came back to the country and immediately asked me for your contact information. wanting to meet you. I told him you were already married, and he kept drinking heavily, crying and repeatedly mumbling your name. Shirong Fairy. So, what do you think? Do you want to eat him up? Shirong Fairy. In my years of experience, this kid is obviously still a rookie, and he seems to have deep feelings for you. He's just a bit timid. If you like him, you could keep him around for fun in the future. It's the Fluffy Fairy. You two have been childhood sweethearts for so many years. If it were me, even if I couldn't win his heart, at least I'd want to have him physically, breaking his virginity. It's the Fluffy Fairy. Furthermore, aren't you the one who likes his body the most? I just took a glance for you. It's not bad. After all these years abroad, he still knows how to keep fit. He has abs. And the big assets you like are still there. My cheeks instantly flushed. Lin Rong. What kind of wolfish words are these? I was just about to type a refusal when I received the divorce agreement sent by Lawyer Liu. I hurriedly replied, "Let me think about it." I clicked to view the document, which was clearly organized. I was very satisfied and typed back to Lawyer Liu, "Thank you." There was a printer in the villa, convenient for printing some cooperation materials. I printed 2 copies, planning to finish the asset liquidation in the next few days. I opened WeChat, found Chu Heng's contact, clicked in, and noticed that there was a new message, though I didn't know when it had appeared. Chu Heng. I have a collaboration to discuss tonight. We'll be back later. The time was just a little while ago. After thinking it over, I stepped back. Never mind. I'll just tell him directly when I see him. I busied myself, spending an entire afternoon sorting through my belongings. Aside from a few essentials, most of it was jewelry and other items that Chu Heng had bought for me. I didn't move. The jewelry was bought by him for Mrs. Chu. After I divorced him, those pieces would be dealt with by him. Whether he sells them or throws them away, it has nothing to do with me. After a long day, I sighed and collapsed onto the bed. I turned on my phone and saw that it was only 6 o'clock. It's a bit boring. Thinking this, I opened WeChat again and clicked on my best friend's profile picture. It's the Fairy Rongrong. Anyway, you two are getting divorced. If you still like Chen Yi, you might as well reconsider and give it another shot. He had his struggles back then, and honestly, he didn't want to break off the engagement with you. I can tell he still has feelings for you after all these years. It's the Fairy Rongrong. However, if you think you like him, after the divorce, you can keep him around as a little pet for fun. But don't think about marrying him. It's Fluffy Fairy. Good bestie. Aren't you coming out to play? It's been a while since we've shopped together. Going out to play. The last time I shopped with Lin Rong was 3 months ago. I typed a reply. Fluffy baby. Send me the address. Let's go shopping tonight. Lin Rong replied quickly. Have you finally decided to come out and play? It's the Fairy Rongrong. Room 508. I'm waiting for you. It's the Fairy Rongrong. Yinga KTV address. I'm still quite at ease playing at the store run by Lin Rong. I changed into a long dress with black and red stripes. Arriving at Yinga KTV, my manager directly invited me to room 508, in the private room. Lin Rong was wearing a short green dress, quietly sitting on the sofa next to Chen Yi, her tone one of exasperation. You're a grown man. Can you stop crying all the time? How long have you been crying now? If you really can't let go of Huan Huan, why don't you just talk to her? Explain clearly how you were forced abroad by the Chen family back then. The little dog next to her, dressed in a white suit, obediently massaged her shoulders. Chen Yi was lying on the table, sobbing. Perhaps she had regained some clarity. Sitting silently on the sofa, not speaking. As soon as I walked in, all eyes turned to me. Lin Rong bounced over to my side, sizing me up, just as I expected from my sister. Truly beautiful. Come sit here. She gave a glance to the little puppy, who immediately understood and stepped back to bring a platter of fruit and a few cans of low-alcohol beer. He poured the beer into a glass and quietly returned to Lin Rong's side, continuing to knead her legs. I sat down and took a sip of the beer. Chen Yi, sitting there in a daze, glanced at me a couple of times, wanting to say something but hesitating. Lin Rong speared a small piece of watermelon with her fork and fed it to the little puppy next to her, then turned to me and said, "Sister, he has something to tell you. Do you want to hear it?" I nodded. Lin Rong stood up and left with a group of people, saying, "I'll go next door to take a look. Call me if anything comes up." She shook her phone, until there were only Chen Yi and I left in the private room. Neither of us spoke, and we fell into silence for a long while. I was drinking beer by myself, occasionally munching on a piece of watermelon. How have you been these years?" Chen Yi finally spoke, his gaze towards me filled with a hint of guilt. Back then, he was also forced by his family to break off the engagement. He had resisted, but the result was being sent abroad, not allowed to return, and even more so, not allowed to contact me. I actually understand everything. 3 years ago, if I were in the He family's situation, I would have called off the engagement too. Merchants prioritize profit. I am also a merchant. I understand everything the Chen family has done. This matter cannot be blamed on the Chen family, nor can it be blamed on Chen Yi. 3 years ago, he was merely a powerless child. Even if he didn't break off the engagement with me, he couldn't help me much. He had little authority to decide on matters of the Chen family. I nodded and looked at him. "It's fine, Chen Yi. Long time no see." He still cries like before, displaying an ugly smile, laughing through tears. "You still blame me for breaking off the engagement back then, right?" Whenever he cries, there's always this feeling of tempting me, just like at this moment. I really want to bully him. Even after 3 years, I still can't change my perverse habit. I had no choice but to look away, shaking my head. No, it's all in the past. Besides, that betrothal was just a joke made by our families when we were kids. It was never serious. The air fell silent for a moment as he slowly moved beside me. "I heard you got married." His voice was faint, growing softer with each word. I nodded. "Yes. 3 years ago. The He family and the Chu family had a marriage alliance. You should have seen it on your phone." He looked at me with tearful eyes and asked, "So you and him, are you happy together?" I replied flatly, "It's okay. Will he make you laugh like I do?" He tentatively took my hand, and seeing that I didn't resist, he brought it to his pitiful cheek, his voice slightly hoarse. "Will I cry?" I quietly watched him and sighed. "Go ahead. Tell me why you wanted to see me." He brought my hand to his chest and gritted his teeth. "I beg you, give me a chance. I want to be your lover." His chest felt just as good to touch as before. I swallowed hard, barely able to resist the temptation to tease him on the spot. I'm still at that impetuous age, unable to withstand such seduction. I pulled my hand back, feeling a surge of conflicting emotions inside, but still pretended to be indifferent on the surface. "Let's forget about the past. I'll pretend you never said any of this tonight." Chen Yi was relentless, suddenly pouncing on me, his eyes red and tears streaming down his face. "He Huan, you are so cruel. You used to say I was your favorite. You said." My heart raced. My face felt like it was on fire, and I immediately pushed him away. "Chen Yi, I'm already married." If this were in the past during our playful banter, I would probably have held him in my arms, eager to give him my whole heart, whispering various sweet nothings I'd picked up from novels. But now, the illustrious young master of the Chen family actually wants to be my third wheel. Those words just now were clearly learned from that little pup who got promoted to a mistress next to my best friend. He may not be clear-headed, but I'm very much awake. Even if I were preparing for a divorce and planning to take in a pet, I wouldn't want him. What's more, I'm still not divorced and am still a married woman. It's time to put an end to what's between him and me. I stood up and looked at Chen Yi, who was lying on the sofa, weakly lifting his head to look at me. "There's no possibility for us. Let's leave it at that." I picked up my bag and left. I sent a message to Lin Rong saying that I was leaving, then took a taxi back. Chen Yi's matter will be handled by Lin Rong. When I returned to the villa, Mama Wang immediately heated up the food and brought it out. I had little appetite, ate a couple of bites casually, and then hurried back to my room to prepare for a shower and sleep. As for the divorce, I'll give the divorce agreement to Chu Heng tomorrow when I see him. Just as I was about to head upstairs, Chu Heng returned. He seemed to be in a good mood, holding a large bouquet of red roses. He came in front of me, handed me the flowers, and his ears turned bright red. Old. Before he could finish his sentence. The moment he leaned closer to me, his smile immediately faded, and his eyes turned red as he looked at me. You smell like. How could there be the scent of another man on you? I found it strange and glanced over myself, but didn't notice anything unusual. So I had to break the awkwardness. Mr. Chu, are these flowers for me? He nodded awkwardly. For you. Perhaps he had been put in his place by Su Yu, and his mood wasn't great. I guess these flowers were actually meant for Su Yu. She just didn't accept them, and he didn't want to throw them away. So he brought them back to me. Most of the necklaces he gave me in the past were like that too. He returned from abroad with a whole bunch of jewelry, which he might have intended for his white moonlight. But since she refused to accept them, he thought of me at home and brought them back to give to me. I don't particularly like necklaces. Lin Rong has a fondness for them. So it was only natural that I passed it on to her. The flowers from today are also highly likely to be something Su Yu didn't want. I smiled as I accepted them. Thank you. I really like them. Take the flowers to the room and put them in the vase. The flowers are quite nice. I like flowers. When I was a child, I planted a rose in the yard at home. After a lot of effort, it finally grew a bud. And when it bloomed, a little chubby boy picked it. I was so angry that I grabbed that fat guy, intending to scold him. But when I saw his face full of grievance as he apologized to me, I held back and let him go. He said at the time, I'm sorry. I'll compensate you with a lot of flowers in the future. Still just a child. I held that pink rose and said with irritation, Get out of here. And if I see you again, I'll hit you every time. Later, I really didn't see him again. It was like a dream, as if he had never appeared at all. Chen Yi invited me to his home to see the sunflowers he had planted. And I gradually forgot the unhappy things. Downstairs, Chu Heng locked himself in his study, opened his phone, and sent a message to Su Yu. He has a dog outside. Su Yu. Chu Heng. I can smell another man's scent on him. The man cried so hard he could hardly catch his breath. Yet he didn't dare make too much noise. Chu Heng. Is she going to divorce me because of that little lover outside? Su Yu. Brother. Don't get too worked up. After all, you are the legitimate wife. Chu Heng. You're right. I am the main wife. I have a legal marriage with her. And as long as I don't agree to a divorce, no other dog should even think about taking my place. Su Yue retracted a message. Su Yu. What I meant to say earlier is that there must be some misunderstanding. Sister-in-law is not that kind of person. Su Yu. Chu Heng. Did the tricks you taught me actually work? Su Yu. I don't know. Anyway, that's how I pursued my boyfriend back then. You didn't win over your sister-in-law. Maybe it's your own problem. Chu Heng. Are you saying she doesn't like me as a person? Su Yu. Not really. It might also be that your sister-in-law doesn't like the gentle domineering type. Why not try changing your persona? Chu Heng. What character setting? Su Yu. Innocent little puppy. Cold husband. Crying. Actually, your original type is quite good. I think sister-in-law would like it. Chu Heng. Impossible. I still remember breaking her rose when we were kids, crying and apologizing in front of her. She said I was so annoying and told me not to cry. Even called me ugly. Su Yu. Su Yu. How long ago was that old story? How do you still remember? Su Yu. Don't blame me for not reminding you. That guy from the Chen family is back in the country. You should be careful. Chu Heng. Help me think of a way to get him out of the country again. Su Yu. New information popped up. He exited the chat window with Su Yu and found that the assistant had sent him 2 videos. Assistant. Boss. The Chen Yi you've asked me to keep an eye on went straight to Yingge TV after returning to the country, and even met with his wife. Chu Heng opened the first video, which showed Chen Yi holding my hand and placing it on his face. The other one was of Chen Yi saying he wanted to be my lover. Chu Heng exited the video, tears streaming down his face. His fists clenched tightly. He knew that the Chen guy had malicious intentions and wanted to steal his wife. He forced down the bitterness and replied to his assistant, "Keep an eye on him. Tell me immediately if he makes any moves." Then he found Su Yu. He met with her. They were childhood sweethearts. She's only getting a divorce from me for him. Quickly think of a way. I don't want a divorce. Su Yu. I just asked Lin Rong what type of man she likes. There's currently a method that gives you an 80 success rate of keeping her by your side. It all depends on whether you dare to go for it. Chu Heng. What method? After taking a shower, I held the signed divorce agreement and knocked on his door. Chu Heng had clearly just finished showering as well. He wrapped himself in a white towel, his upper body bare, droplets of water still sliding down along his defined abs. His figure was exactly to my liking. I swallowed hard, immediately averting my gaze, a surge of nameless anger rising within me, nearly impossible to contain. His cheeks were flushed, his gaze deep, and he still carried the scent of lavender from the shower gel. He softly called out to me, "Wife." For a moment, I doubted my hearing. I shook my head, reminding myself that I was here to discuss serious matters, then took out the divorce agreement and handed it to him, speaking in a calm tone. "Chu Heng, let's get a divorce." But he trembled as he took the divorce agreement, completely shattered, tearing it to pieces, his eyes instantly turning red. "Why?" He looked at me and said, "Don't divorce. Don't leave. Why should we get a divorce? What is it about me that isn't as good as him?" I replied, confused. Our partnership has come to an end. What on earth was he talking about? I took a deep breath and turned to leave. I can't stay here any longer. His physique is too perfect, too much to my liking. And the sound of his crying is simply tempting me. It's making my heart itch. If I don't leave soon, I'm afraid I won't be able to resist tackling him down. Just as I reached the door, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me back, hugging me from behind. "Wife, I don't want a divorce." Chu Heng's tone was almost pleading, tears dripping down, landing on my neck, making me shiver all over. My heart raced, and I forcibly held back my anger as I pushed him away, loudly questioning, "Why won't you agree? Didn't your white moonlight return to the country already? Why is he still trying to seduce me? Calling me his wife. Aren't you usually calling me Miss He?" Chu Heng was taken aback, looking at me with a pitiful gaze, mixed with a hint of confusion. "What white moonlight?" I sat down on the bed, somewhat annoyed, and said, "That little childhood friend of yours, the young lady from the Su family." Chu Heng looked wronged and on the verge of tears. "I'm just ordinary friends with her. And besides, she has been dating a boyfriend for 3 years already. How could it be possible for me and her?" At that moment, I received a message from my best friend Lin Rong. I looked at my phone. It was a message from Rongrong, the fairy. Haha, I think we both misunderstood. Su Yu has a boyfriend. Your husband has had a crush on you for many years. And he's the type of mommy you like. I suggest you don't divorce yet. Followed by a long string of explanations. Su Yo took her foreign boyfriend to Yingge TV to find Lin Rong and told her everything. Fairy Rongrong. "Do you remember the chubby kid who broke the carefully nurtured roses you had back then?" Fairy Rongrong. "That chubby kid is him," I replied. "Thanks for letting me know. Rongrong. I'll think about the divorce." I turned off my phone and set it aside, examining Chu Heng. "Come here. Let's have a good talk. How do you explain your trips abroad to see her over the past 3 years?" Chu Heng wiped his tears and obediently sat beside me. I went to her for advice. I frowned. "Be more specific." "Chu Heng, I like you. And I asked her to help me figure out how to win you over." I laughed. Just as my best friend explained earlier. It turns out that the photo of Chu Heng and Su Yu in the cafe was him brainstorming ideas with her. At that time, Lin Rong's little puppy passed by, saw them, and took a picture to send to Lin Rong, who then forwarded it to me, resulting in a misunderstanding. Chu Heng and Su Yu's friendship is as pure and flawless as mine, with my best friend Lin Rong. I actually don't quite understand why, despite being childhood sweethearts, they are not together. The answer is simple. I turned on my phone, and my best friend sent me the answer. Su Yu is part of the niche 4i group. I turned off my phone and looked at Chu Heng. How do you explain those necklaces? She said that most girls like gemstone necklaces, so I bought them to give to you. Was it also her idea to go on trips every year? Chu Heng nodded in acknowledgement. Yeah. She said it would help warm up our relationship. I turned my head and stared at him, scrutinizing him. Do you like me? He blushed. Yeah. When did this happen? A long time ago. Starting with the wilted rose you planted. But we were just kids back then. In college. We were at the same school. Perhaps you never noticed me. Once, I had a hypoglycemic episode, and as you passed by, you gave me a candy. A strawberry-flavored one. In college. I was with Chen Yi and really didn't pay attention to anyone else. I can't quite believe it. Is it really that simple? Chu Heng nodded slightly. Yeah, it's that simple. She gave him a piece of candy, and he recognized her. He had had a crush on her for 4 years during college. I weighed the pros and cons and found that continuing to be with him wasn't so bad. So I looked at him and said, I can refrain from divorce, but I don't want to live like a widow anymore. Anyway, his physique matched my preferences perfectly, and he looked really good even when he cried just now. In an instant, Chu Heng's entire face turned completely red, like a boiled shrimp. Wife. This is my first time. He agreed. He agreed to let me touch him, having guarded my body like a precious jade for many years. I never expected it would be for me. I couldn't help but push him down, kissing his lips, teasing his body, laughing wickedly. Husband. This is my first time too. He trembled all over, tears falling, which only excited me more. A night of lingering affection, entwined as we slept. In the days that followed, I realized that I liked him for who he truly was. The gentle, aloof demeanor he had shown me before was all an act. The real him was sensitive, suspicious, jealous, loved to be pampered, and would cry easily, getting red-eyed and throwing himself into my arms whenever there was a disagreement. It made my heart ache with tenderness, wishing I could give him my whole heart. My best friend Lin Rong shook her head in disbelief. I shrugged and held the person comforting them. There's no helping it. I just like this type.